It won't rain forever. Over Memorial Day weekend, my kids and I went on a proper road trip. We took Friday off and set out on what would ultimately be a trek through 7 states and 2 time zones. For the first day of the trip, our plan was to drive from Iowa, where we live, to the Toledo, Ohio area with a few scheduled stops along the way. There were possible thunderstorms forecast throughout the weekend for that entire area of the country, and we packed up the Jeep on Friday morning amongst a light drizzle. About an hour into our trip, we were driving in a heavy downpour. We planned to hike at the Indiana Dunes National Park and visit the University of Notre Dame on the way to Ohio. Of course, rain would put a damper on both of those activities, especially with young children. So as we drove through the downpour, we discussed how our plans might change. I assured Mickey and Claire we would find something fun to do along the way regardless of the weather, and I tried to help them keep perspective on the situation. I told them we can't control the weather, and it won't rain forever. That was certainly true of our road trip, but it's also true of life. We all have our rain clouds. There will always be those times in life that don't go the way we want or the way we think they should. There are unforeseen circumstances that ruin our plans or challenge us in unexpected ways. That's just life. It's nature as much as the rain, and condemning the storms of our lives is about as effective as cursing the rain. Being upset won't change either. That's important. We often spend a great deal of our time concerning ourselves with things over which we have very little control. We have, for instance, no real control over other people. We can do things to influence others, and there are certainly those sad instances when a person of power exerts some type of force on someone, but we don't have control over the thoughts and feelings of others. Still, we spend so much of our time worrying about the opinions and behaviors of other people. We do the same thing with our circumstances. We complain about our situation without doing anything to change it. Being upset won't change a situation or a person, and the sooner we recognize that, the better. If we can acknowledge we can't control the weather, we can focus on preparing for the storm. If we come to terms with the things outside our control, we can focus on the things we can control. In the end, the only thing each of us really has much control over is ourself. Sometimes we like to act like that isn't true. We pretend like we can control all of these outside things, yet we too readily allow outside influences to affect our moods and behaviors, and we act like we have no control over our own reactions. That's a problem. We don't always have a lot of control over outside forces, but we do have control over ourselves. The better we understand that, the more we believe it, the more effectively we can begin to set aside those outside influences and work to empower ourselves. That's the best we can do when the rains come. We're not going to stop the rain, but we can prepare ourselves for it. We can grab our raincoats and umbrellas and not let a little rain ruin our day. Plus, if we have our wits about us, we can recognize that it won't rain forever. Eventually the clouds will part and blue skies will appear. In nature, we at least conceptually understand this. We've seen it time and time again. It's harder to accept in life. We just don't know how long the rains will last. They do end, though. One way or another, the rain always ends. I have discussed the situation before, but when I faced a string of health problems and a series of complications and pains that lasted a couple years, I did get frustrated. I felt down from time to time because the rains kept coming and there was no clear end in sight. I wouldn't want to go to bed at night because I knew I had to face the same challenges in the morning. Eventually, I started convincing myself that my challenges wouldn't last forever. I recognized that in the best case, I would completely recover, and in the very worst case, I would die. The latter actuality may seem a little extreme or a bit defeatist, but I decided that even if I lived another 50 years in the worst of my physical pain, it wouldn't really be that long in the grand scheme of existence. I convinced myself I could weather the storm no matter how long it might last. And if it did kill me, the pain would be gone. That took away the fear. It let me focus on the things I found truly important, and it let me believe things would improve. Really, the belief that things will get better is more important than it actually being true. Sometimes a storm comes on so strong it permanently alters the landscape. Things may never be the same. But if we don't first believe things can be better, they never will. We have to believe the sun will shine again no matter how dark the clouds get. The challenges of my life have certainly altered my landscape. They have impacted me physically, mentally, and emotionally. But that's not a bad thing. That's the final and most important lesson the rain has to teach us. In the end, we need it. The same way the earth needs the rain, we need the storms of our lives. Those rainy days help us appreciate the sunshine, and they help us grow. Challenges grant us the opportunity to form perspective, and if we weather the storm, we come out of the rain stronger than before. When we truly understand our need for rain, we can embrace our challenges, even enjoy them. We can dance in the rain, splash in the puddles, and greet our trials with open arms. That's not easy to do, but we can get there. We just have to focus on the things we can control. We have to believe our hardships won't last forever. Then, and only then, can we start to accept our struggles as the fuel we need to grow. Thank you.